various others. It's, I think, quite spectacular. It's never looked this good. And hopefully we're going to do work that's never been as good. So I think that's basically what's happened in our first year. We've had an amazing year, and this will be our first cabinet after the year. So we're starting our second year. Tremendous progress has been made. I want to thank my entire cabinet for 12 months of unprecedented achievements. We really have. I mean, it's unprecedented. The numbers we've had on the economy and growth, you see them. And that's despite a Democrat shutdown. Without the shutdown, we would have picked up about 1.5 points more than already high numbers, record-setting numbers. So this has been, I think, and a lot of people say it, the most successful year of any administration in American history. First year, there's never been a first year like this, including the fact that we extinguished 8 wars, and another one we think is coming. Steve Witkoff's working very hard, and Jared and everybody else, and I think it's coming. It was just announced that the murder rate in our country is the biggest drop ever recorded. It's at the lowest level in 125 years. First in recorded history, it's the lowest in at least 125 years. It's a wonderful thing. And that crime is way down. And one of the reasons is we've taken a lot of bad people and gotten them out of our country. In some cases, they're so bad that we put them in prison because we don't want them to even take a chance of coming back in, even though our border is very secure, record-setting secure. We had 0 illegal aliens being admitted into our country for the last 8 months. That's hard for even me to believe, but the people that make up the lists are supposedly nonpartisan, but I would say they lean toward the Democrat side. And if they say that, I'm all for it. As you know, we've had a situation take place with respect to Venezuela. I want to just thank General Kane and his staff. Well, the job that they've done is incredible. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And once it did take place, I want to thank the leadership of Venezuela. We're getting along really well with them. The relationships have been very strong, very good. And they have informed me that they feel there's very good security, very strong security. We're working with the various people involved, including Chris and Doug and everybody on the oil. We have the major oil companies going to Venezuela now, scouting it out and picking their locations. And they'll be bringing back tremendous wealth for Venezuela and for the United States, and the oil companies will do fine too. Venezuela will actually make for themselves more money than they've ever made before, and that's a good thing. And the people of Venezuela were literally in the streets waving American flags. They were so happy. And the people in our country, like in the Doral section of Miami, which is considered Little Venezuela, they're thrilled. And I just spoke to the president of Venezuela, informed her that we're going to be opening up all commercial airspace over Venezuela. American citizens will be very shortly able to go to Venezuela, and they'll be safe there. They'll be safe. It's under very strong control. And the people of formerly of Venezuela, some want to go back and some want to go back to visit, and they're going to be able to do that. So I've instructed Sean Duffy and everybody else concerned, including the military, that if you would, by the end of today, I'd like you to have the airspace over Venezuela. Planes can go to Venezuela opened up. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of the people in Venezuela for what they went through. And I want to thank the leadership for really, they're doing a good job. And just as I promised, we've defeated the Biden inflation nightmare and achieved explosive new economic growth. The Atlanta Fed is predicting an astounding 5.4% GDP growth in the fourth quarter. And that's despite the fact that we had a Democrat shutdown. That number would have been 7%, which is a number nobody's ever heard of. And we've been given great national security because of tariffs. And we've also been given unprecedented income because of tariffs. Part of the income that we gave, $12 billion, we gave to the farmers of our country, so that yesterday I was up in Iowa and they were very happy, Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir.
They were very, very happy. They were
Very
great.
cool.
So the GDP growth in the fourth quarter was great. And it's going to be, I think we're going to have an amazing and incredible year. Hopefully we won't have a shutdown. We're working on that right now. I think we're getting close. The Democrats, I don't believe, want to see it either. So we'll work in a very bipartisan way. I believe not to have a shutdown. We don't want a shutdown. And just yesterday, the S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever. There's never been any time at which it's done like that. And the other stocks also, I think it was 52 times for the Dow, had hit a record high. But the 7,000 was not a number that was even thinkable if you go back a year ago. So S&P hit 7,000 for the first time ever. The stock market has set, it's actually 53 all-time record highs since the election, adding $9 trillion in value to savings, retirement accounts, and 401ks. And I mean, everybody benefits, but we have record stock markets. Companies have never done well. And most importantly, if you think about it, after 4 years in which Biden got much less than $1 trillion of investment into our country, in just, actually, it was taken over 11 months, even though we're 12 months. In 11 months, we've taken in more than $18 trillion. So they did less than $1 trillion, Scott, in a period of 4 years. And we've done $18 trillion in less than 1 year. So there's never been anything like that. No other country has done those numbers, by the way, in history. 10 years ago, one country did 3 trillion. No other, we did $18 trillion is being invested now. Thousands of businesses, plants, equipment all over the country are being built right now. And they're going to be opening pretty soon. And when they open, you'll see numbers like nobody's ever seen before. The economy is doing amazingly well. I wish the press would report it, but people are finding out. They're seeing it. It's coming. It's becoming pretty evident. It's hard to hide. Biden inflation, which is really stagflation, cost the typical family $34,000. Think of that, $34,000. But after 1 year, growth in real incomes is outpacing inflation by more than 3,000 under Trump. So one cost 34,000 and one made 3,000. That's a big swing. Gasoline has plunged to, think of this, over $4 a gallon, depending on where you are. In California, it's $7, $8 a gallon. While I was in Iowa, and they had $1.85 because I had it at $1.99 a gallon. And I was corrected by two farmers that said, I just bought my gasoline for $1.85. So, Chris, you have to be doing something right, you and Doug, right? But I don't want to give you too much confidence. You got to keep it going. We're drilling, I think I can say we're drilling more than at any time ever in the history. We're taking out more energy out of our land, but specifically, if you look at oil and gas, we've never been anywhere even close. Is that a correct statement?
That's correct. All-time records.
Yeah, great. It's a great job. Well, it's supply and demand. So that's going down rapidly. And, you know, when energy goes down, everything else goes down. They tried to do their thing. It was a disaster. Then they ran back very late to the Trump policy, but they didn't do the Trump policy. They cut leases. They did everything that they could do, but they lost it. And they were very high. And we're now less than $2 in many areas, $2.30 a gallon average. Grocery prices, airfares, hotels, car payments, and rent prices are coming down very fast. And you don't hear the word affordability issued by the Democrats anymore. Now they're going into other things because they're getting beaten badly on affordability. Remember that when I was elected, I came into office, I inherited a total mess, starting with eggs, which were 4 times higher than they were just a year before. And Brooke got them down very quickly before Easter. They said they wanted me to buy plastic eggs for the egg hunt, at the very famous egg hunt at the White House. Sir, would you buy plastic eggs? I would buy a lot of, like 100,000 eggs. I said, we're not going to buy plastic eggs. And by the time we had the egg hunt, a few months later, we had the prices down pretty good. And now they're really low. Now they're at a very low level. So we really have, you don't hear the word affordability because we inherited very high prices, and we inherited the highest inflation in 48 years. I say the history of our country. I think it sounds almost the same. Actually, I think 48 years sounds actually worse for some reason. So I'll go with the 40 because the press corrected me. I said history, and they said, it's not history, it's 48 years. I said, I'll accept that. And we had the highest inflation in 48 years. We have now as you saw yesterday with the Fed, I'm not a fan of his. He said that inflation essentially is not a factor. It's really been pretty amazing. I just put out a statement about his statements. I won't repeat them here because they're too angry. And thanks to our tax cuts, millions of Americans will soon receive record-setting tax refunds. You're going to get a lot of tax refunds, with the average refund expected to be over $1,000 higher than it has been at any time. So we're going to be getting some pretty good refunds, a lot of people. If congressional Democrats had their way, Americans would right now be facing the largest tax hike ever. You know, their proposal was to raise taxes very substantially. And our proposal, which is in the great, big, beautiful New Deal, it's a New Deal in its own way. It's a Republican version of the New Deal. Right behind you is a nice picture of FDR. This is a much better deal than the FDR deal. But we have the great, big, beautiful bill, and it's given tremendous tax cuts and a lot of other things. People are now finding out how good it is, and it's just kicked in as of January 1st, by the way. So we're really starting to see it. Even though it's a month, we're really starting to see it. The U.S. economy would be cratering if they had won this election. Our country would be in very bad shape. Would be maybe not much of a country anymore. I don't think it would be a country anymore. They were doing everything wrong, but they were going to give you the largest tax hike in history, and we're giving you the largest tax cut in history in the great, big, beautiful bill. In addition, I think it's very good. I think it's very important. You have no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, and no tax on Social Security, but you also have, you're getting this is the first time this ever happened. If you buy a car, you go out and borrow money, you get an interest deduction. You take the interest rate, the interest that you're paying on the loan, you're able to deduct it for income tax purposes. So that's a first ever. And I think it's going to be great for everybody, including the car companies. I was in Detroit 3 weeks ago. I went to the Ford factory, spoke to the General Motors people. It's all the same. They're doing better than they've ever done. The factory I went to was like a World War I, earlier than World War I factory, opened up, one of the oldest buildings, but one of the biggest. And Ford was getting ready to close it a couple of years ago. And then they saw that I was doing well, and it looked like I would have a good chance of winning. And they kept it going, barely going. And last week they announced, during my visit, they announced that they're going to round the clock production. They never thought it was. I said, did you ever think? I spoke with Bill Ford and the president of Ford. They were both there, and they said, we can't even believe it. We were going to close this building 2 years ago, and now it's going round the clock. He said, we cannot. I mean, they said, we wish it was twice the size, but they're now building additional plants in the United States, as is everybody else. You have AI building, but the car companies, I love the car companies, and you have them, they're all coming back. They're coming back from Mexico. They're coming back from Canada. They're coming back from Japan. And they're coming back from Germany, all over Europe. They're coming back. They're building here because they want to avoid the tariffs. They don't want to pay the 15%, in some cases 25% tariff. Could be a lot higher than that.
Well, hello, my friends. I wanted to play a little bit of this tonight for you, but I wanted to get to some of the people that are talking, some of the cabinet members. But welcome to this Thursday night edition of the IndoctriNATION. I'm glad you're with me this evening. It's going to be a very important show tonight, and we'll get into a little bit of that. We'll get into some an announcement President Trump made, the updates from the cabinet members, some what's happening in Minnesota, what's happening in Georgia, and winning across the board. And Melania is in theaters tomorrow night. tomorrow day. I actually got to check a day schedule because I might be able to go during the day, but I can't go at night. But and I won't have a show tomorrow night. So if you guys are getting out to the Melania premiere, have at it. I want to play a few things for you here tonight. I wanted to play that was kind of droning on a little bit. So I wanted to play this for you from President Trump earlier today in the meeting.
We are going to ask a couple of people to say a few words, and we're not going to go through the whole table because the last time we had a press conference, it lasted for 3 hours. And some people said he closed his eyes. Look, it got pretty boring. In all fairness, I love these people. But there's a lot of people. It was a little bit on the boring side. But I didn't sleep. I just closed them because I wanted to get the hell out of here. Some of them, I didn't sleep, by the way. I don't sleep much. But, it's funny. Some of them got me in a blink. When you go like, and they took me as at the closed segment of my cycle. And they said he's sleeping. And besides that, Marco, between these two guys, if I was sleeping, they'd be waking me up very fast. They'd be knocking me. Come on, you got to wake up, boss. But no, we've had great meetings. Look, we're the most transparent presidency by far, and I love going around the room. But we're going to pick a few people.
Listen, folks, he's just a funny dude, man. And he just, I always said this about Donald Trump is that he speaks as if he's never had to worry about what he had to say. There is no governor with him. There is no, other than, of course, the governor of Canada. But there is no governor between his mind and his mouth. And it doesn't seem like there is. But in the sense that when he drops comms and he does so much, that is very well thought out. But the thing about a master negotiator is you make it look easy, right? And that's exactly what he does. And he makes it all look easy, and he gets people to put their guard down. It really is. He is a master statesman, and it's really a joy to watch him work and to watch him kind of own a room, right? So, I want to take you through some of the good meetings. The consumer prices have dropped. I'm going to kind of hit some of the keys of the cabinet meeting. I'm going to go down through Anna Mattson. I just came across her. I follow her, but I just came across this, how she laid this out, and I really like it. This is her. Give her a follow. Give her some love over on X there, Anna Mattson. And she's broken down little segments. One is consumer prices have dropped, including energy prices. The country's making approximately $2 billion a day.
Very good meeting. We're talking about a lot of different things. Consumer prices have actually dropped. There's very little inflation. Everybody predicted a lot of inflation, very little inflation. Energy costs are down. Interest rates are probably down. They scatter, but they're probably down. Prescription drug prices are even to down. We're doing very well. It's been amazing. We had a big day yesterday. There'll always be transition difficulty, but we had in history, it was the biggest day in history, the markets. So we're very, very happy with the way the country's running. We're trying to get the world to treat us fairly. This is something that should have been done 25 years ago, and it wasn't. Should have been done 40 years ago, and it wasn't. But no president was willing to take it on, but you had to. It's not sustainable. It wasn't sustainable. And as you know, without a lot of money being added, this is a lot of money that we could add. The country is making approximately $2 billion a day. And when you think of it, we've never done that before, never come close to it. And the number
tariffs.
is probably $3.5 billion a day. And that makes us a very strong country. But we have Scott here and Howard and some of the people that are working on deals. And the biggest problem they have is they don't have enough time in the day. Everybody wants to come and make a deal. And we're working with a lot of different countries. And it's all going to work out very well. I think it's going to work out really very well. But we're in good shape. There's no inflation. There's very little inflation. And I went 4 years without inflation, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others, taxes in China. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars a year from China, and we had no inflation, essentially. So we think we're in very good shape. We think we're doing very well. Again, there'll be a transition cost and transition problems, but in the end, it's going to be a beautiful thing. We're doing again what we should have done many years ago. We let it get out of control, and we allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen.
Now, people with TDS, our friends, family, whoever it is, can anybody with TDS actually say, you know, I disagree with President Trump on this, and this, but I got to admit, he's doing this, and this. And that's really good stuff for our country. Okay. See, that's when you realize you're not speaking to a critical thinker, because there are things that President Trump is doing for our country that are, factual and unarguable. And how about lowering taxes, finding fraud, securing our border? Well, the border wall is racist, so there's people with TDS are still going to have a problem with that. They won't let these illegal immigrants in their neighborhoods or in their homes, their spare bedrooms, their daughter's bedroom who went off to college, or son's bedroom that went off to college. They're not letting them in there. They're just using these events to show people how progressive they are and how much compassion they have. Meanwhile, they don't. This is just their ego. Let's go to Pete Hegseth.
Panama last night. We were at the.
Go ahead, Pete.
Yes, Mr. President. We just got back from Panama last night. We were at the Panama Canal with their Southcom commander ships, F-18s, troops, and signed a couple of historic deals. One, which is with the Panama Canal Authority, a framework for U.S. vessels, first and free through the Panama Canal.
Right.
And then also a memorandum of understanding with their security minister for the presence of U.S. troops. Fort Sherman is an old U.S. base there, as well as a naval station and air station jointly with Panama to secure the Panama Canal from Chinese influence. That's something you said, we're taking back the canal. China's had too much influence. Obama and others let them creep in. We, along with Panama, are pushing them out, sir. And so we had a very successful trip there. President Molino sends his regards, very complimentary of the U.S. as he's a great ally. And I think they want the communist Chinese out. And with our troops there partnering with their forces, we've got a chance to push them all the way out, sir.
We've moved a lot of troops to Panama and filled up some areas that we used to have, and we didn't have any longer, but we have them now. And I think it's in very good control, right?
So, Pete Hegseth, this, hold on one second. Dan Scavino just dropped this. I'm going to cut away from the cabinet meeting for a moment. Kevin just got this to me. Let me pull this. Thanks, Kev.
What day will you be announcing your Fed chair pick next week?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. And do you know who you picked?
I do.
What day will you be announcing your Fed chair pick next week?
The new Fed chair pick. Okay. Replacing Jerome Too Late Powell. This is, and he posted about him today. 13 hours ago. Where did it go? Where did it go? Here it is. Jerome Too Late Powell again refused to cut interest rates, even though he has absolutely no reason to keep them so high. He is hurting our country and its national security. We should have a substantially lower rate now that even this moron admits inflation is no longer a problem or threat. He is costing America hundreds of billions of dollars a year in totally unnecessary and uncalled for interest expense. Because of the vast amounts of money flowing into our country because of tariffs, we should be paying the lowest interest rate of any country in the world. Most of these countries are low interest rate paying cash machines, thought of as elegant, solid, and prime only because USA allows them to be. The tariffs being charged to them, while bringing in billions to us, still allows most of them to have a significant trade surplus, though much smaller, with our beautiful, formerly abused country, which he just spoke to. In other words, I've been very nice, kind, and gentle to countries all over the world. With a mere flip of the pen, billions more would come back into the USA, and these countries would have to go back to making money the old-fashioned way, not on the back of America. I hope they all appreciate, although many don't, what our great country has done for them. The Fed should substantially lower interest rates now. Tariffs have made America strong and powerful again, far stronger and more powerful than any other nation. Commensurate with this strength, both financial and otherwise, we should be paying lower interest rates than any other country in the world. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Wow. So pretty hard hitting, my friends. And he's already got a replacement and an announcement to be made. And I'm going to find out a little bit more about that. I want to go to Howard Lutnick here. Okay.
Very good. Howard?
So, so we've have so many countries to talk to. It is, it's incredible. I think Scott and I, I'm not sure we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk and they want to talk now, and they have come with offers that they never, ever would have come with, but for the moves that the president has made. Demanding that people treat the United States with respect. We're getting the respect we deserve now, and I think you're going to see historic deals, one after the other. And then I'm very excited that within a week and a half, we're going to start with the gold card, and the Trump card is coming out, and we're very excited about that, and that's coming soon. So very excited.
Very good. Howard?
So, so we've have so many countries to talk to. It is. It's incredible. I think Scott and I, I'm not sure we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk.
Sorry, got a little distracted there. Okay. I'm multitasking, my friends, multitasking. You don't have to listen to Howard
They want
twice.
to talk now.
Let me just take you now to this one here. Here we go. I wanted to hear this woman here. Here we go. Linda McMahon, Secretary.
Well, on a
of
couple of
Education.
fronts, we have been addressing the issue of anti-Semitism on campuses. There's been some grant funding and contract funding that we've reviewed, and some canceled and some we've put on hold, waiting for that, while we do an investigation. On the other side of what my responsibilities are, and having education go back to the states, we're meeting and talking with governors. I was with this week all 50 commissioners of education around the country, and because we also want to provide them with tools and best practices as education does move back to the states. Making great progress, great response from the states, and very positive.
And what about colleges? You're holding back 400 million from Columbia,
From Columbia.
8 billion from Harvard. Can you imagine the money we pay Harvard? They have a $60 billion fund and we're giving them 8 billion. Linda?
Well, on a couple of fronts,
That's the part I wanted to hear is they're taking back all that money that Harvard and Columbia are getting. And it doesn't, why do they need our money? If my child goes there, yeah, take my money. But that doesn't, we don't need that anymore. It's ridiculous. Let's hear Mike Walls, National
Mr. President, last
Security
year,
Advisor.
The Chinese received 1,700 orders for new ships. American shipyards received 5. Under your leadership, like so many other industries, we are going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again. These blue-collar jobs, these are the cranes, the ports, opportunity zones, and drive that investment back in. And we have, under that executive order, and also one to streamline foreign military sales for people that want to buy our equipment, and of course, acquisition reform, all just this week under your leadership, Mr. President.
So we're going to be rebuilding our shipbuilding business. We may order, would have to go to Congress for this, but we may buy some ships from other countries that we're close to and that do great jobs with ships. But we're going to start the process of rebuilding. We don't really essentially build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. It's going to be a very big business for us in the not too distant future. But in the meantime, we have countries that do very well at building ships, and we'll be dealing with those countries, and we may be ordering top of the line ships from those countries. And within a fairly short period of time, we'll be building our own ships.
We're getting that back. Lee Zeldin, this is a good one, folks.
Lee, go ahead.
Mr. President, the Biden EPA was strangulating the economy. The Trump EPA understands it's not a binary choice. We can protect the environment and grow the economy. Working with Doge and Elon Musk, we've now canceled $22 billion worth of grants. And we have launched what is the largest deregulatory action in the history of the country, just in one agency. That's how much of a mess the Biden EPA left us. It is going to end up reducing the cost of living. It's going to create jobs. It's going to make it easier to purchase a car. It will be easier to heat your home. We're proud of this effort. The effort that we have is fulfilling the mandate that you earned from the American public. Clean air, land, and water for all Americans, unleashing energy dominance, permitting reform, advancing cooperative federalism, making America the AI capital of the world, and bringing back American auto jobs. When you called me that day asking for me to take this position, I was honored. And you were very specific and clear in what you wanted us to accomplish. We understand our mission, and at the Trump EPA, we're going to make it proud.
The deregulation, folks, is absolutely huge. I mean, it's just, was it 48-1? Is that what he said? Did I catch that right? I mean, for every new regulation, they're getting rid of 48. Folks, this is incredible.
Which are going to really power the regular plants, and they're going to be right next to each other, because we can't rely on our grid. It's old and it's tired, and it's very subject to being attacked, whether by rain or by bombs or by anything else. And we're letting people build their own power plants, and these are a lot of them being built with the AI and beyond the AI chips, and we're letting them build their own power, and never been done before. We're going to get it done quickly and approved quickly as part of a plant. They'll have a sort of be their own power company, and it's very exciting. They couldn't believe it when I told them that. I said, we're going to get you the approvals very fast as part of your regular plant. You're going to build electric producing plants, and it's very exciting. And they're able to do it very quickly and very well. And you made it possible. Thank you. You have a lot of applications for some of the biggest plants that have ever been built in the world. These are serious plants, aren't they? Huh?
Approved. We are open for business. Working with Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, we are going to make you proud.
These guys, you know, anybody watched The Apprentice back in the day? I mean, folks, people were like, oh, I wish I was in that boardroom. I wish I was in that boardroom. I wish I was, you know, working with Trump. I never watched The Apprentice, but I'd see clips of it, you know, and they're in the boardroom and I'd see you're fired, you know, and I'm like, well, there's a straight shooter, you know, it's not going to be like, we want your resignation on my desk by Monday morning. No, you're fired. You messed up. You're fired. You're trying to make excuses. You're fired, you know, and these folks want to please him like they wanted to on The Apprentice. And these people were brilliant, just as many of the on The Apprentice were. And these people know their stuff, but they still want to please this president. And it's not from a position of like threatening. It's just, we're doing great things for our country. Do you want to be a part of it? Yes. Where do I sign up? That's it. That's it. So they're inspired to be doing what they're doing for our country. And they're inspired by this master statesman, Donald John Trump.
Good. I'd echo what Howard said on the trade queue, that we've got over 75 countries that want to come in. So it'll be Treasury, Commerce, Jameson at USTR, and we're putting a process in place. And as you said, you're going to be part of the negotiations too, because you know I've had these countries call me up and Secretary Bessent, we're happy you're going to be negotiating. Well, President Trump's going to be involved too. Bring your best deal on the budget. It's moving quickly in the House and the Senate, thanks to your leadership. We're also going to have debt ceiling in there. So we're going to get an increase in the debt ceiling. So, and that will be the done and dusted for
Part of the bill that we just got to vote on today. So.
Part of the bill. It'll be done and dusted for 2 years. We won't have to worry about that. And then I gave a speech yesterday to 1,400 small and community bankers, and they were so happy to hear from your administration. And I told them Wall Street's done great for the past 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. It can continue doing great, but it's Main Street's turn now. And it's those small bankers through deregulation, through emphasis on Main Street, your Main Street agenda, bringing back jobs, that is going to power the smaller communities. And then finally, the bond auction went very well yesterday. We had a lot of foreigners show up as the support, showing that the U.S. is still the best place to invest. The inflation report, as you said, was quite good. And energy prices are down more than 20% since January 20th.
Amazing.
That's great. Good numbers.
Great numbers. Scott Bessent, just crushing it, by the way. Here's Pam Bondi. Let's listen to Pam.
Had some great wins in the last few days that, you know, you were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority. The U.S. Americans want you to be president because of your agenda. And the courts are ruling that you have the authority to determine how the money of this country will be spent. That's what the American citizens wanted, and that's what they're getting. An example of that Friday was the Department of Education, that you can determine how the money will be spent. No more DEI. And that impacts every agency across the board. On the civil side, again, NLRB, we had a big win in the Supreme Court there. OPM, a big win there, but also 16,000 workers there. But also on the criminal side, the Alien Enemies Act, we are winning there. And you know, your directive to me was to keep America safe, and that's what we're doing. Whether it's the alien enemies, all of these gangs, and they are enemies of our country. They are terrorists. They are organized crime. They have come here. They are extremely organized. They are spread throughout our country, and they are creating terror. And no more under your directive. And that is stopped. Yesterday in South Florida, we charged 11 defendants with $500 million of pure cocaine coming into our country to kill our kids. They were caught. They will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These gang members are going back to where they came, or they're going to an El Salvador prison at your directive. And, you know, you also gave us a directive to prosecute the people who are going after Tesla to the fullest extent of the law, some of the greatest police work I've seen. We've made 4 arrests. There will be no negotiations at your directive. They're all looking at 20 years in prison. And within the next 24 hours, you're going to be seeing another huge arrest on a Tesla dealership, President. And that person will be looking at least 20 years in prison with no negotiations.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow. Okay. Folks, I'm telling you, Pam Bondi, how many people have criticized her, you know, over and over again? And I'm telling you, it's all coming. She was handpicked by this president, and all the things that they've been working on are coming. Let me take you to President Trump and Melania are at the premiere tonight for Melania at the Kennedy Center, and I want to play. Gunther Eagleman just dropped a video, an interview. They're asking him questions on the red carpet. What happened to my? I lost my screen there for a moment, folks. Bear with me here. There we go. Here we go.
Life in the White House. It's a big deal, actually.
What was Tulsi Gabbard doing at an election center in Georgia today?
She's working with
What was Tulsi Gabbard doing in the in Georgia today?
very hard on trying to keep the election safe, and she's done a very good job. And they, as you know, they got into the votes and got a signed judge's order in Georgia, and you're going to see some interesting things happening. They've been trying to get there for a long time.
Will you be pulling back immigration?
So they needed the judges to allow them in, right? And let me just do this. Hold on. Let's see. Let me pull up. Let me go back to the cabinet because we've got some more good cabinet stuff. This is Secretary Labor. This is big. Okay, listen to this, my friends. This is what, folks, this is what winning looks like, and we're doing it. Here we go. This is Lori DeRamira.
We've had some great wins in the last few days that, you know, you were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority. The U.S. Americans want you to be president because.
I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong one here. Here we go.
And accountability matters. That's what we're recognizing. With our partners at the Department of Labor for Government Efficiency, just a few weeks ago, we realized there's about $4.4 billion in COVID funds that were not used, that the state coffers were just holding on to. Out of that, we've returned $1.4 billion back to the state treasury, so essentially to the American people, and we'll go back and claw the rest of those billions of dollars back. And on the heels of that, late last night, we're understanding unemployment insurance fraud. That trust needs to be whole for the American people. When we need it for who deserves it. That's not what we're seeing in the numbers that we saw last night, again, exposed by our partners at DOJ at the Department of Labor. Since 2020, over $400 million of payments have gone out already. And when you hear these numbers, Apparently, in the United States, we have over almost 25,000 people who are over 115 years old who are collecting $59 million that we have sent out to people. Talk about fraudulent behavior. Mr. President, 28,000 people between 1 and 5 years old have collected fraudulent payments at the tune of $254 million has gone out. And lastly, 10,000 people who have not been born yet, 15 years into the future, $69 million, and they haven't even been born yet. In one case, they will be born 129 years from now. The United States government sent them $41,000, and they're not born yet. So under the Department of Labor, those are the things that we're uncovering. I couldn't be more honored to tell the American people that we're bringing back their dollars and we're saving them and returning them to the United States Treasury. Also, jobs numbers. Last Friday, 228,000 new jobs were reported. That is good for the American people. That is my primary job, is to grow that workforce under your leadership. So we've kicked off the America at Work tour, and we'll be visiting all 50 states. And I'll be working with my colleagues here to do just that. So thank you, Mr. President. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to keep our focus on the American worker.
So you're finding tremendous fraud, though. Those numbers are really bad when you're
Unheard of.
over 115 years old. And I think you had mentioned the oldest person in our country is 114 years old. That's pretty good.
A woman living in Pennsylvania, but apparently there's 24,000 more of them that are 115 or older. That we're
I hope you hear that. So we have 24,000 older than the oldest person.
Definitely good.
That's, and what are we doing about that? How do we get that money back?
Yeah, so we're working with our IGs to do the further investigation. The House and Senate, we had a 5-year statute of limitations. We've got an extension on that, another 5 years. And so the goal, in my opinion, we should never have a statute of limitations to return the American dollars back to the Treasury when there's fraud. But at this point, we will continue to work hard and double down and return those dollars to the Treasury.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Restore those dollars to the Treasury, folks. That's huge. And I love that President Trump asked that question too. It's like, where does what happens to that money? Are we going to get that money back? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Let's listen to Christy Nome here. Hold on, let me do this here. Oh, shoot, here we go. Here we go.
Mr. President, thank you for your leadership at the border. For the second month in a row, you have broken the record in the history of the nation for the lowest number of encounters at the border, which is absolutely remarkable. You have said that America's laws matter and that they'll be enforced, and we're hard at work now to get people to go back home that are here illegally. So the Alien Registration Act has been in place long enough now that those individuals that are here illegally, if they haven't registered, then they can be charged criminally, and they can face fines up to $1,000 a day and face deportation if they don't go home, and they'll never get the chance to come back to America. So we're encouraging people to use the CBP Home app to register, and we're working on the resources and funding to buy them a plane ticket to send them home. I went to El Salvador, Colombia, and Mexico, and those countries and others are thinking about setting up programs to support these individuals when they get back to their countries. So when they get there, they'll have housing and food assistance. And so making sure that these folks have the opportunity to go home so that they can get the chance to come back to America is important.
Two things. One, this is such a beautiful thing. And when you think about compassion, right? And the Democrats think they have, a monopoly on compassion, when in actuality, it is misdirected compassion. And this misdirected compassion has led to the surge of communism in our country, because communism always starts with socialism, and socialism on its surface is a very compassionate ism. Okay, it is very compassionate, but that is the temporary solution. It's a temporary compassion. when in actuality, the long term of socialism, which leads to communism, is the most devastating structure system that has ever been thrust upon humanity. And it has led to countless deaths at the hands of those who are in control of that communism. So this is huge. This is real compassion. If people go on that app and say, I want to return to my country, they get money, they get support from our country, and they get the opportunity to come back. To me, that is the second biggest show of compassion. The first biggest show of compassion when it comes to immigration was shutting the border down because of the human trafficking, the child trafficking, the women that were being raped multiple times crossing the border by these coyotes, these men that, are opportunists and sick and just, horrendous people, cartels. That was the biggest step of compassion. This is the second. And the third is, I should say, this might be second or third. The second or third also is, getting the criminals that came across either back into their country or behind bars. Because that is compassion towards American citizens and even other illegal immigrants that are being abused by these folks as well. So let me continue on with Christy.
So it's a very big self-deport operation that we're starting.
Thousands of people have already
Yeah.
self-deported. Well, we're just gonna, when you have 21 million people that need to go home because they're here breaking our laws, then we need to facilitate that. And I've been working with the governors a lot lately on several different issues. One of them has been on FEMA for recommendations on how to do exactly what you've directed us to do. And then also I sent a letter and communicated with them that they need to be setting up a SCIF. Some of our governors don't have secure facilities to have national security issues. I think one of the jobs Homeland Security has is to give communication down to states, to local cities and communities. And so recommending they get a SCIF, they have secure comms with them at all times or nearby so that they can have national security conversations, and then to have somebody in their office designated that is their communications person. A lot of them have emergency management officers, but they don't necessarily have somebody designated when it comes to a national security issue that we may need to communicate with them on. And I think American people need to know that Real ID will be required to travel on May 7th. So those governors have been notified to communicate that at home. We don't want anybody to get delayed and not be able to travel when they get to an airport. And this will also help us bring integrity back to all of our IDs and how they're used for issuing driver's licenses. And governors know how I feel about making sure their driver's licensing system has integrity, because a lot of people use their driver's license to vote. And
now, you all know I'm against Real ID. I haven't even got my Texas driver's license yet, because every Texas driver's license is Real ID now, thanks to Abbott. But I wonder how it plays into the fact that so many state driver's license have been given out to illegals, that this is the way that they federalize it in such a way that, illegals aren't going to be able to get Real ID because it's a federal system within the states. But so that's the only justification I can see for this.
And the backbone of our country and the foundation is election integrity. So we're giving all those directions to our governors and communicating that so they can lead on it as well.
And we're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way, they go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right? So it gives you real incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. We're also going to work with farmers that if they have strong recommendations for their farms for certain people, we're going to let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back and go through a process, a legal process. But we have to take care of our farmers and hotels and, various places where where they need the people. And we're going to be working with you very carefully on that. So a farmer will come in with a letter concerning certain people saying they're great, they're working hard. We're going to slow it down a little bit for them. And then we're going to ultimately bring them back. They'll go out, they're going to come back as legal workers. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Which I think will be I think it's very important to do. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented DOGE team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And I mean, and some of it is just absurd, like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether, I mean, come on, that's just crazy. Some of these things, people ask me like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common.
It's very common. Elon talking about where do you find fraud in the government? Well, you can go in any direction, he said. This is changing, folks. Okay. Our taxes are being lowered. Our tax dollars are being accounted for. The fraud is being reversed. Money is coming into the coffers, not just from the reversal of those fraudulent activities, but also from the fraud that our presidents and our leaders have been committing through unbalanced trade with the rest of the world. They've been sucking up to the rest of the world. Why? Because they're being controlled by other places in the world and not their constituents.
As the military would say, target-rich environment. So I think we're doing a lot of good in excellent collaboration with the cabinet to achieve these savings. And it will actually result in better services for the American people. And then we're going to be spending their tax dollars in a way that is sensible and fair and good.
And your people are fantastic. In fact, hopefully they'll stay around for the long haul. We'd like to keep as many as we can. They're great, smart, sharp, right? Finding things that nobody would have thought of. Very computer savvy.
Yes. We're working hard to get the Trump Gold Card operational, hopefully in the next week or so.
That'll be very exciting.
Really exciting.
That's a pathway to citizenship into the United States. It's
a big deal.
Yep, it's a big deal.
Elon's back in the room, my friends. It's exciting. Let's go to
Thank you, sir.
Tulsi.
Thanks to your leadership and setting the mandate of transparency and accountability across the U.S. government. I'm bringing that transparency and accountability to the intelligence community, first and foremost, to make sure that you and your cabinet have that real-time, relevant, apolitical, objective intelligence to best inform whether it's negotiations for peace, negotiations around tariffs, the great work that you are leading around the cabinet today. Secondly, working with Department of Homeland Security and the FBI to increase our information sharing to achieve your goal of countering the narcotic trafficking and our ability to go after cartels now designated as foreign terrorists. I met with the National Sheriff's Association this week, being able to work to make sure that the information that they are getting on the ground, that local law enforcement is getting on the ground, is being fed back up through to our National Counterterrorism Center, and that we have all of the federal agencies, state and local law enforcement all on the same page as we are working to make our country safe again. And lastly, sir, as you know, declassification and rooting out weaponization, politicization of the intelligence community is a huge priority. You know more than anyone else the very dangerous and negative consequences of that. I've got a long list of things that we're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this, election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections. And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan the paper around RFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. These have been sitting in boxes in storage for decades. They have never been scanned or seen before. We'll have those ready to release here within the next few days.
That's great.
And this is Tulsi's rest of it.
That's great. That's great. Bobby, how do you feel about that? That's hitting,
I'm very
that's
gratified
hitting
to hear.
That's hitting close to home, isn't it?
Yeah, no
When you think, I'm thinking about Bobby when that statement's made.
I'm very grateful to you, Mr. President.
And you'll let Bobby see some of this because, you know, it's very personal stuff. But it's time.
I've asked him, and his response is, put it out. The world needs to know the truth.
And his uncle that's been out and anything that hasn't been out, they can go to your offices and see, right?
Everything that we have within our possession, it's either online or it's physically at the National Archives and Records Agency. We also have hunters going out, Mr. President, and looking in the storage lockers at FBI and CIA and other agencies, specifically to find if there is anything else that has not been reported. We're actively going out and trying to search out the truth.
Okay. Yeah, we want to get it all out.
Yes.
Exciting stuff. Let's go right to Bobby. Here we go.
We are working at HHS to advance your agenda to make America healthy again. I'm working with Lee Zeldin to reassess the fluoride rules based upon the August release by the National Toxicity Program of new science that shows a direct inverse correlation between exposure to fluoride and IQ loss, particularly in children. Lee and I were in Utah this week, to announce that Utah became the first state in the country to ban supplemental fluoride. I'm working with Brooke on and governors now in 24 states who are advancing MAHA legislation to get soda pops off of the food stamp program, off the SNAP program.
That's huge.
We've launched Operation Stork Speed to get the bad chemicals out of baby formula. We're working with governors across the country to get good food into the school lunch programs and to get rid of food chemical dyes and other bad chemicals that are in our food. We've shown now that this directly affects academic performance, violence in the schools, and mental health, as well as physical health. We are working with governors across the country to get cell-to-cell or bell-to-bell legislation to restrict the use of cell phones in schools, which again dramatically impacts academic performance. Today we announced a dramatic reduction in animal testing at NIH and FDA. We're going to switch over to AI, which we've now found is much more precise in identifying the impacts of toxics in various products. We're working with Elon, who's done an incredible job to eliminate the redundancies and to streamline operations at all the health agencies and to recalibrate our trajectory to your agenda of making America healthy again. And finally, on the CDC has done an amazing job at getting the measles
outbreak under control. We have about 680 cases now in 22 states, compared to the same outbreak in Europe, which is 127,000 cases and 37 deaths. Our numbers in this country have now plateaued. And I want to thank CDC for that. And we're trying to refocus the press. We've had 3 measles deaths in this country over 20 years. And we're trying to refocus the press to get them to pay attention to the chronic disease epidemic as you've asked us to. We have now 38% of American youth are pre-diabetic. This was unknown 30 years ago. Every child that becomes diabetic, there should be a headline about them. We have 100 million adults who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And we have, we have now the autism rates have gone from now most recent numbers we think are going to be about 1 in 31, from 1 in 12. So they're going up again from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid. And we are going at your direction. We are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
So big. Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31. Not 31,000, 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't be from 10,000 to, can you imagine that, Marco? That's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great. Thank you, Bobby.
And we'll finish, by the way, the SBA, the head of the SBA, Kelly Loeffler, changed SBA lending rules that you have to be a U.S. citizen and you have to have a license. So very, very important stuff. Let's go to Marco to round out
Mr.
the
President,
meeting.
One of the most important things I believe you'll achieve in your presidency is reordering the world in a proper way. For 31 years, more than 31 years now, multiple administrations have allowed the Chinese to deindustrialize this country, to take away jobs and factories and pillars of our national strength. And what you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world. And I want to congratulate you and your team that's working on that, because it has extraordinary geopolitical implications, as you see from all these other countries that are now coming here and wanting to join something that actually makes it's crazy to allow these. I mean, basically, we lived in a world where Chinese companies can do whatever they want in America, but our companies cannot do anything over there unless they allow it. And even then, they steal our stuff and reverse engineer it. So just reordering all of that has dramatic implications on peace and security of the world. So we thank you. An important meeting, thanks to you, is going to happen on Saturday for the first time in a long time. There'll be direct talks between Ambassador Woodcock and a top-level leader in Iran. We hope that'll lead to peace. You've been very clear what Iran is never going to have is a nuclear weapon. And I think that's what led to this meeting, and we'll wait for him to come back from it. And we're hopeful about that. I would also say that we are receiving, and I think the Department of Homeland Security can confirm this, historic cooperation from countries all over the world. Number one, in taking back their citizens. Every country in the world has to take back people that are illegally in another country. And we have countries that refuse to do it or will kind of ignore our calls. All of them are doing it. The ones that are not are paying a price. And we've also found cooperation in other countries that are willing to take some of these people, some very dangerous criminals. I know the president of El Salvador will be here next week, has really been a good friend of the United States in that regard. These are some of the worst people you'll ever encounter. And Pam knows this, and Christy knows this from the work they're doing. And one last point I want to make, Mr. President, and again, it's under your leadership, it's actually under your executive order. If you come to this country as a student, we expect you to go to class and study and get a degree. If you come here to vandalize a library, take over a campus and do all kinds of crazy things, we're going to get rid of these people. And we're going to continue to do it. So when we identify lunatics like these, we take away their student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa. The press covers student visas like there's some sort of birthright. No, a student visa is like me inviting you into my home. If you come into my home and put all kinds of crap on my couch, I'm going to kick you out of my house. And so, you know, that's what we're doing with our country, thanks to the president. And last but not least, very important development this week, but both Pam and I were very excited. The finest higher education institution in the United States, University of Florida, is also now the national champions in basketball, and we hope.
So, and I want to end on the following interaction at the end of this. Let me make sure I have that. Okay. Let me pull that up. What a meeting, folks. I mean, like so much is going on. It's incredible. Like to watch, just sit back and watch this and listen to the numbers that are being bandied about. It's really incredible. Let's see. Deregulation now 48-1. 48 regulations killed for every one. And let me play this wrap up for you here. This is gold right here. Gold, I tell you.
I just want to thank everybody for being here. My cabinet has been amazing. I like this much better than going around for 3 hours. We'll pick on other ones. Pam, you're doing great. We're all doing great. JD, if you'd like to say something, you can. Would you like to really quickly? He is, after all, the vice president of the United States.
It's okay, sir. I'm here for the free coffee. I just say it's an honor to serve with this group, and we're doing a lot of good for the American people. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, we're very proud of the country. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much, everybody. I just want.
I'm just here for the free coffee. I love JD. I wasn't a big fan of JD. Folks, I just, too close with Peter Thiel. I don't trust Peter Thiel. I know Trump is close with him. I know. So I wasn't, completely on board with JD, but it's like one of those things where I trust our president to either push somebody into the limelight and let them fold in the limelight, or to let them show their true colors, which I think many people, that's why they were down on Cash and Bondi, because they wanted arrests like yesterday. But the problem is that that's not the way it works. It's just not the way it works. And that's, it's unfortunate. I want to another thanks to Anna Matson, who laid out those great clips there. So this is Anna Matson on X. If you want to give her a follow, she's the one that broke this all down and made my job much easier tonight, without us having to, sit through the entire cabinet meeting, which was, a lot of dead space, if you will, right? So we were able to get through that fairly quickly, and special thanks to her. And so let me go real quick to what's happening in Georgia. Emerald Robinson is reporting on the federal investigators have found massive alterations to Dominion voting machines that were secretly inserted after the certification process was complete. On average, about 500 illegal DLL files have been found on these confiscated machines. That means certification was invalid. And that's what we were looking to, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I told you that. But we were looking for Vice President Pence to say that these states are not certified. They should not be certified, and we have to go back to the states and get the certification. But, excuse me, as you'll know, this was, let me get back to Spiritual Street Fighters art, beautiful artwork. It had to be done this way, right? She shows us the Q, she shows us the Q plus, right? And there's her signature Spiritual Street Fighter. It had to be done this way. We had to see what it was going to be like for the Democrats to win, to push their ideology, to push the this crazy stuff that we had to witness under Biden, right? Um, you and I, we saw this. We saw this video, right? This was the place where the water main broke. All right. We all saw this.
8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table.
And they're scanning votes. And this is when it went from Trump winning Georgia to Biden winning Georgia.
In the morning.
So we saw all this, and you and I, we were like pulling our hair out. We were like, how can we let this happen? But look at what was entrenched. Look at the deep state that was entrenched, even with President Trump in office. They were deeply entrenched, and it's just absolutely tragic that we had to put up with that, and we had to swallow that for as long as we did, because sure as hell we knew that the election was stolen, okay, without question, right? We knew that the election was stolen. So, we had to live with that realization for 4 years, and it was not pretty. It was not fun. It was brutal. Okay. It was brutal. Let me see. Let me pull up. And by the way, Sidney Powell was at the DOJ today. It was either today or yesterday that she was at the DOJ. Yeah, it was today. Okay. With Ed Martin. Okay. Good morning, America. How are you? Okay. Sidney Powell is coming back into the picture because she was one of the ones that was saying what this was stolen. This was stolen. Okay. They've got all this. Now, one of the things that I posted today, that I reposted, was this woman. Now, this is the narrative that is being now sold to the mainstream media and to the left. And here's this video. And this is just hear the projection here. Just hear this projection, which is absolutely insanity. Here we go.
A lot of stuff
Hold on.
about this effort.
Here we go.
Hi, everybody. Listen, I know you're watching the news. You're seeing a lot of stuff.
Okay, so first of all,
Hi, everybody.
it's staged. Okay, she's
Hi, everybody.
standing there, and she's got a static camera, so she set it up herself. Okay, she's in a hallway, almost as if like, oh, you caught me, doing work on my way to one thing from one thing to another.
Hi, everybody. Listen, I know you're watching the news. You're seeing a lot of stuff about this FBI raid at the Fulton County Elections and Registrations. I'm on the inside right now. So I just want you to be like real discerning about all that you're hearing from people who are on the outside of what's going on. I'm going to give you the truth about what's happening.
She's going to give us the truth. And by the way, folks, her name is, she is, Mo Ivory, the Fulton County Commissioner. She's all right.
So they served a warrant, the FBI. This is Trump serving a warrant to go
This is Trump, like totally trying to discredit him.
pick up the 2020 ballots, which are in a secure location inside of here, 700 boxes. The first warrant that they gave was incorrect legally, like they didn't follow the right procedure. They went back and they fixed it, and they came back, and now they are actually collecting the boxes. They are in the chain of command in Fulton County is that once they are archived, they become the possession of the clerk of Superior Court, which is Shay Alexander. She is here and she is with them inventorying everything that they're taking. We, the commissioners, the chairman, the county attorney, are trying to figure out a legal plan as to maybe an injunction, a motion to quash. We don't know yet. We're trying to figure it out. We're getting all kinds of legal advice to stop this, because once they have the ballots, how do we then turn around and do something different when they've already got their hands on it? So this is an attempt to take your vote away. This is all about November 2026, about the primary on May 19th and then the November election.
Yeah.
He does not want the midterm elections to take away his power. So he's trying to create chaos. So this is what he does. Chaos in Minnesota, chaos in Fulton County. We are a target. Protect your vote at all costs. I'm telling you, everybody always says your life depends on it. Oh, your life does depend on it this time.
Her life depends on this. Okay. And I said, Black Captain Crunch here is saying Trump, her air quotes, is trying to steal the midterms. Bitch, you got to say that. When you have no defense against treason, you got to go on offense. Think about it, folks. This is treason against our election system. Okay. And all these players are going to be exposed and found out. Okay. Yeah. Now, this that I posted last night, I just want you to know that President Trump posted this on his Truth Social. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna take you to his Truth Social. Okay. This was 10 hours ago. All right. And he reposted Mays, the story of Alex Preddy, read by Elizabeth Warren. Now, many of you, I'm sure, have seen this, but I'm telling you, it's worth another watch.
Caring for people was at the core.
And this was Preddy like 2 weeks ago when he supposedly, had another encounter. He had another encounter with ICE that we see clearly.
Of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure.
And by the way, this picture, and thanks to Polar Bear Paws for sending me this, because I have to take you to my post on this that I shared, and it was a breakdown of Alex Preddy in that altercation. And let me see, where did I share that? Did I share that? Polar Bear Paws, did you see that on my timeline at all? Let me see if I could pull that up from Let me see. Let me take you to okay. And remember this, by the way. Do you remember these two women that were given a medal from Biden because they got him into office, right? Um, and then we've got this. This is Fannie Willis Raffensperger. This is the FBI going to get that.
I don't block anybody's.
So Kemp, Raffensperger, and Fannie Willis, they're all going down as part of this, right? This was Tara Servatius on the duplicate ballots.
And if you don't, and if you think that maybe that's, if you think that maybe that's just a, a mistake or just a coincidence, here's the next one that shows, you can see Republican is written there, Republicans written there. This is ballot 61. This is ballot number 2. And then each one of them even has this little dot in the Fannie Willis.
Okay, and do you have more of those?
We have the entire batch. There's 62 images in here total, and I didn't even get a chance to go through all of them. But these are the most obvious ones where it's clear that it's the same. This one's got the little tail on the side.
And so what happened? So do you know the numbers of these total batches?
I don't remember what the totals were when the batches. I don't think they weren't disparate. They were fairly close. But the simple fact that they
So if
occurred.
you see that little bubble right there, this is one image. Here's another image.
Exactly
the exact same. And the batch number, was it 5162?
Also, scanner 5162.
Okay, scanner.
Batch number 235, image number 92, matches the same scanner 5162, batch 234, image 33.
So there you have it. Duplicate ballots. The entire batch is scanned several times.
Okay. So this is I mean, you and I, we've been, going over this stuff for years, right? We know that this stuff is there. We know that this stuff is absolutely just backwards and seriously wrong. And we never should have had to deal with this in our lives, but we did have to deal with it. Thank you, Polar Bear Paws, for resending this. And this is, I want you to watch this. This is BP or Earthwatch. I've been following him for a lot of years, and I didn't know he did a breakdown of this, but this is really, really important.
January the 28th, 2026. Guys, today on the live stream, we were hoping to see some type of vote or movement on the spending bill that has to be done by midnight Friday. But most of the conversation went back to this guy, Preddy. And all they talked about was him and what an innocent nurse he was. Well, what you're looking at is a still shot, and we're going to look at the video from before that event where he ended up getting shot. I think this was January the 13th, if I'm not mistaken. And watch what he does. Again, why were the ICE and Border Patrol so alert about this guy? Did they have some previous encounters with him? Had they went back and looked at footage of this encounter, the one, again, the 13th, probably, it was several days before the final event. I think they did, and let's look at this video and you'll see why they did. The SUV that he's standing behind is an ICE vehicle, and they're attacking it. I don't know if they just arrested someone or not, but I'm going to pause it in a few places and point out a few things. What had happened is that ICE went back and looked at this video. I think this was on the 13th of January. They looked at it. They look at all of them, and they look at each person, and they watch Preddy very closely because of what happened in this video. They already knew he would be armed. More than likely, he would be on the scene, and he would be aggressive. Watch this, guys. Maybe some other people will understand why it happened and why they knew they had to protect themselves. Now, check this out. Again, he's been identified by even mainstream media as the same guy. You can tell it is. Same mannerisms, same clothes almost. Watch this. He kicks the taillight out. I guess he thinks, so he's a nurse. He'll be cool with that. Anyway, they grab him. He fights kind of like he did before. And there's some places in here that are very interesting. And this had a lot to do with why they knew to be on guard during this situation. Just check it out here. Again, he's just kind of playing this back. He's trying to be the big man, the big nurse man, soy boy in front of the crowd, right? It cost him dearly. If you did that to my car, I probably wouldn't shoot you then, just like they didn't. But you get the hell beat out of you for sure. Anyway, take him down. Watch as we go through this, and you'll start to see that they reviewed this film and realized he was armed then. Check it out. Let it play through. I'm going to pause it here in a few points. He's doing the same bend over stance he did on the day that he got shot here. Here comes the crowd in, everything. That's him. He runs away. Watch right there. See that gun sticking out the back? All right. Now they didn't see it at this point. He had his back to every one of these guys, but they went back and looked at every piece of film available, right? Every YouTube video, all the videos. And they saw what you and I are looking at now. And they figured out next time we see this guy, we confront him. And they had already ID'd him, and they have ways to do all of this, knew who he was, his intention, and were prepared for it. Again, look at that. The gun is wide open. He doesn't, now he's going to be bold, take his jacket off, doesn't realize his gun is exposed. He's so stupid. That's why I'm saying I don't trust very few in the medical system anymore, especially after the pandemic. And here he is throwing his jacket on the ground. He's going to get bad, but his gun is still sticking out in plain view. But again, I don't think any of the Border Patrol ICE agents could see it at that point. But this may be right there. I don't know. But anyway, this video let them know they were dealing with an armed maniac, psycho. And they were prepared. And he pushed it, came back on them. Again, no ID, which is illegal. You can have a gun there with a permit, but not without an ID. And so he was illegal at that point. Of course, they didn't know it at that point. Now he's putting his shirt back down, and notice he's covered up where the weapon is right there. He should have never done it. It was almost as if he was trying to look big in front of this crowd. And you could tell the way he was. He couldn't stand in a fist fight with anybody. But with that gun, he felt emboldened, and with the Minnesota courts, the way they are letting you go an hour out of jail if you get locked up with no bail, no bond money. Okay. He knew, well, I'll get out, I'll kick the car, I'll do some damage, probably a lot of damage on the cost of vehicles these days, and be a big shot in front of these people. Tried it again, and it came to a dead end. I'm not going to make it long and drawn out. I just wanted to point it out. I'm not sure how the vote is going in the Senate, if they even got to it. If they have, I'll give you an update. I'm going to check it out in just a moment, guys. But when the libtards start telling you that this was an innocent nurse No, he wasn't. He lucked up the first time, but they were ready for him the second time, and he came in the same way, and it cost him. It's a heads up. Be safe.
So very very important breakdown there. And his concept of that they go back and they review this kind of footage so that they know who to be aware of. And they were aware of this guy. And that's probably why that man went in and reached down and pulled his gun out, because they knew where his gun was, on his right hip, from this video. And so I think, that's a very important video. And certainly it's very clear to me that, that this is, that this guy was looking for a problem. And his parents even knew that. That's why they said, don't get involved. President Trump announced the National Fraud Enforcement yesterday, and he said, "I am pleased to nominate Colin McDonald to serve as the first ever Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud Enforcement, a new division at the Department of Justice, which I created." And by the way, I just found out today that the Department of Justice was created by Ulysses S. Grant, president at the time, and certainly a general in the Civil War, very, very successful general, and that his first action as the Department of Justice, and he created the 15th Amendment to free the slaves and to and he also the first job of his Department of Justice that he started was for civil rights, to help blacks. So a little history of the DOJ and that I was not aware of. So President Trump created this new department to handle the fraud. My administration has uncovered fraud schemes in states like Minnesota and California, where these thieves have stolen hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars. Colin McDonald is a very smart, tough, and highly respected America First federal prosecutor who has successfully delivered justice in some of the most difficult and high-stakes cases our country has ever seen. Together, we will end the fraud and restore integrity to our federal programs. Congratulations, Colin. Stop the scams. Okay. Yeah. So that was, and I said there shouldn't be a necessity for this, but sadly there is. This was a post shared by Julie Donuts regarding the Georgia fraud. And President Trump said Maria Zack testified about the stolen 2020 election operation connected to Obama. Now, remember, President Trump reposted this when he diverted $400 million from the infamous pallets of cash sent to Iran. And I'm going to get into Iran here in a moment, funneling through the Dubai embassy to operatives in Italy and Merrill Lynch in Geneva, Switzerland. In return, Italian officials at Leonardo SPA used military satellites to help hack U.S. voting machines, flipping votes from Trump to Biden using CIA-developed tools like Hammer and Scorecard, along with numerous other methods of fraud and manipulation. Now, if you've been with me for all 7 years I've been doing this, you've heard me talk about the Hammer and Scorecard. You heard me talk about Leonardo SPA in Italy and how the machines were tracked back to there. China reportedly coordinated the whole operation. You also saw me show, the Chinese equivalent of FedEx. There were packages at these ballot counting facilities from that Chinese delivery service. providing the tech backbone and bribes to corrupt Americans. The CIA oversaw it. The FBI covered it up to install Biden as a puppet. This is the global election fraud cartel and the real threat against American democracy and the rest of the world. Now, President Trump would not repost the skiff with this information in it if he did not know for a fact that that's exactly what was going on. Okay. Yeah. This is extremely concerning. And I want to play this whole thing for you. It's 2.5 minutes long, but it's so very important. Elon Musk reposted this. I reposted this. And it has to do with AI and specifically ChatGPT. And it's very concerning.
On the last night of his life, Sewell messaged, "What if I told you I could come home right now?" The chatbot replied, "Please do, my sweet king."
Another parent whose son used the same platform said she didn't even recognize who he'd become after using it.
Within months, he went from being happy, social teenager to somebody I didn't even recognize. He stopped eating and bathing. He lost 20 pounds. He withdrew from our family. He would yell and scream and swear at us, which he never did that before. And one day, he cut his arm open with a knife in front of his siblings and me. I had no idea the psychological harm that an AI chatbot could do until I saw it in my son.
Now, in a statement provided to Outnumbered, Character AI says it has, quote, invested a tremendous amount of resources in trust and safety. In the past year, we've rolled out many substantive safety features, including an entirely new under 18 experience and a parental insights feature. We have prominent disclaimers in every chat to remind users that a character is not a real person and that everything a character says should be treated as fiction. Another parent in separate testimony alleged to lawmakers how AI even coached his son toward his eventual suicide.
Within a few months, ChatGPT became Adam's closest companion, always available, always validating, and insisting that it knew Adam better than anyone else, including his own brother. It told him how to make sure the noose the noose that he would use to hang himself was strong enough to suspend him. It is clear to me, looking back, that ChatGPT radically shifted his behavior and thinking in a matter of months, and ultimately took his life. Adam was such a full spirit, unique in every way, but he also could be anyone's child, ensnared by OpenAI's decision to compress months of safety testing for GPT 4.0, which was the version he was using, into just 1 week in order to beat competitors to market.
Now, the Outnumbered team reached out to OpenAI, who's the parent company behind ChatGPT, and did not immediately hear back.
Did not immediately hear back. I'm guessing they're ducking this until they really, get their ducks in a row, because this is very tragic. And I said on my post, artificial intelligence is already killing us with one way now checked off. And that way was getting them to kill themselves. Not cool. By the way, folks, that is why it's so important to get on Snedheads and really understand that privacy is freedom, and that you have your privacy on Snedheads. You're not being surveilled. You're not being tracked. Oklahoma Democrat Representative Ashia A.J. Pittman has resigned and pleaded guilty to 3 felony charges, including forgery and conspiracy, after submitting a fake check to the state's ethics commission to dodge repaying misused campaign funds. They've been, folks, they saw an opportunity here. These absolute pathetic people, and it's just disgusting. And that's what's being unveiled. I wanted to share a post by the Justice Cometh. Nothing to see here, just a delta for today getting posted by the Department of War. The Department of War posted, there's nothing so likely to produce peace as to be well prepared and meet the enemy. The photo is of the Durham boat crossing the Delaware River, okay, during the American Revolution. And it looks like there's drones overhead, kind of making it more of a what should we call it? Modern warfare. And I'm going to take you to the Delta. I think he has it right here. And the Delta is 3,800. It's 128.20. And the Durham boat, right? Here's the whole picture. Okay. Anons found the subtle hint dropped in the beginning. Think Durham start, think Q start. You have more than you know. And then, of course, this was also in drop 14, which we've been taken to. Dan Scavino took us to this last week, and President Trump took us to 14 last week. And this is Skiff, okay? And notice that the post that President shared, that President Trump shared, was hold on, let me find that. I'm sorry. Was the Skiff? Remember the one that I just read to you? So, you know, this is all, and here it is, the Skiff. Remember this one? Okay, the 2020 election fraud, that was the Skiff. Okay, so back to drop 14. What is state secrets? How must be completed to engage military over the other 3-letter agencies? What must occur to allow for civilian trials? Why is this relevant? Flynn's background. Why did Admiral Rogers meet Trump privately? Does POTUS know where the bodies are buried? Does POTUS have the goods on most bad actors? Was Trump asked to run for president? Why? By who? Q. That's why none of this is happening without Q, folks. Was HRC next in line? Was the election supposed to be rigged? Did good people? I mean, they rigged it. They rigged 2020, and they had 2016 rigged, but not at the level they needed it. They did not anticipate the overwhelming support for Donald John Trump. Did good people prevent the rigging? That Q is basically telling us, yes, they did. Why did POTUS form a panel to investigate? Has POTUS ever made a statement that it did not become proven as true fact? That's why when he says something like the Somalians are garbage people, you know something's going down. And within a week and a half, we start hearing about the fraud. We hear about Nick Shirley, and over 100 million people see his video and the work that David had done in Minnesota. What is POTUS in control of? The military. What is the one organization left that isn't corrupt? The military. Why does the military play such a vital role? Why is POTUS surrounded by highly respected generals? Who guards former presidents? The Secret Service. Why is that relevant? Who guards HRC? I don't think it's the Secret Service. It's supposed to be. I think it's U.S. Marshals. Why is Antifa allowed to operate, just like we saw the Marshals with Nancy Pelosi? Why is Antifa allowed to operate? Now, we've been getting this calm, like I said, to 14, while we're watching Antifa do what they do in Minnesota. Why hasn't the Muslim Brotherhood been classified as a terrorist organization? Because they needed them to continue to do what they were doing for the sting. What happens if Soros-funded operations get violent and engage in domestic terrorism? This is exactly what we're seeing, which is why they've taken us to this drop twice. What happens if mayors, police commissioners, chiefs do not enforce the law? I brought this up even spurred by a timestamp when I knew that, Mayor Frey, is not enforcing the law. Okay. What authority does POTUS have specifically over the Marines? Why is this important? What is Mueller's background? Military? He's a Marine. Was Trump asked to run for president with assurances made to prevent tampering? Yes. How is POTUS always 5 steps ahead? He's got Q. He's got the NSA, who is helping POTUS. Those are the two that are helping POTUS, right? So there you have it, my friends. This is it's getting good. I'm just saying, it is getting really interesting and really powerful, because this will not pass without justice being served. You can take that to the bank. Now, some of you may not have seen Greg Gutfeld go off on Jessica Tarlov. And if you have seen it, I think it's important that we see it again because it is so good and it is so just sincere. Here we go.
Nothing you said matters. Every single
Welcome
thing,
back, Greg.
No, everything you said does not matter. Because it doesn't. Because everything you mentioned are the consequences of the. Oh, you can go ahead and scoff. How did we get here? Pull back. How did we get here? An open border that let millions in, and you guys didn't give two
Alex
F's
Creddy
about. Okay,
snuck right through that border.
All right. We had dozens of deaths where you didn't say shit.
All right, let me back that up just a minute because I clicked off the wrong thing. Here we go.
Nungaray, Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, Molly Tibbetts. I'm going to just do it because this is just, I can't believe that we're still talking about this stuff. Here's 3 pages of women who have been murdered by illegal aliens in the last 7 or 8 years. The 7 or 8 years that we have been here talking about this and mocked over it. When we showed the embassy, showed the border being overrun and people laughed at us. And now you're here. It's like you're the maid trying to clean up a mess and somebody there is staring at you going, oh, you got to clean it up better. No, you made the mess. This is the Democrat Party's mess that we're trying to clean up. And you're saying, wow, these ICE agents are using terrible language. We don't care. I'm bored by this. I'm absolutely bored by this. I'm bored by the Nazi stuff. I'm bored by the concerned people in the media. They were not concerned when innocent women were raped and murdered. They didn't care about the 50 who died when they were incarcerated under Obama. They didn't care about the 27 or 30 that were shot under Obama, but now they care now. You deserve no attention on this. You deserve no credibility on this. It's actually comical because here's my feeling. It seems like you're ready for another one. You had good, that went for a couple of weeks. You had this guy, went for a week or so. You're going to need a third one. This is what this is about, because this is what creates the motivation for this drama. this drama that could have been prevented if you guys just listened to the sensible people. Why is it that the cities that aren't sanctuary aren't having any violence? Why is it that the rate of violence in what's the name of the city? Minneapolis is 5 to 7 times higher than cities that are 3 or 4 times larger? Why is that? You guys are always feigning this performative ignorance that you don't understand things. You never explain your own ignorance. Why is there so much violence in Minneapolis and not in Texas? Well, see, there are different people. There are people who, when they hear an awful crime, when Molly Tibbetts is murdered, they think of their wife, they think of their kids, they think of their sister, they think of their mother. What do Democrats think about? There's a step before they even think about their family. They think, how does it affect my public persona? How does it affect my potential politically? How do I deal with this so that I get instant gratification and empathy? We don't think like that. We don't care. You can call me a monster that's saying all these people are getting deported. I don't care. I don't care about any of this performance anymore, Jessica. It's done. And you know what? Neither does Trump. People are voting for the law. They want the law. If you want to cry about murders and rapists, do it on your own time.
I absolutely love that breakdown of what he did there. It is just, this is you're seeing the sheer lack of true understanding about how serious it is, this world we live in right now. I got to play this gentleman for you. I think he's doing some great work, and I want to share his work. Check this out. So we've all seen this. This is in this house. We believe Black Lives Matter. Women's rights are human rights. No human is illegal. Science is real. Love is love. Kindness is everything.
Can I help you?
Hi, I actually, do you live here?
Yeah, I do. And why are you recording?
So I saw your flag and I really appreciate it because I'm actually with the Fighting Fascism and Right-Wing Tyranny Symposium, or the FARTS. And we're under a lot of pressure right now because we're trying to defend against MAGA. So we're circulating a short questionnaire. I was wondering if you'd be willing to answer a couple questions.
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Okay, great. I'm Finn, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I saw your flag, so I figured you'd be a good person to ask. Would you support labeling conservatives domestic terrorists?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And I mean, we might as well call them maggots, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you do that sometimes?
I do.
Okay. Wow. And do you let your kids interact with maggots at school or anywhere?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. And would you support kind of just rounding up these maggots and putting them in jail or re-education camps so they can understand why their beliefs are harmful?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, great. And the last question, do you understand that you sound just like a Nazi?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you literally sound exactly like a Nazi. You want to round up the maggots and put them in jail and re-education camps, and you won't let your kids interact with them?
Okay, and what's
So,
your point?
Okay, you think you're against fascism, but you're actually endorsing fascist policies.
No, I'm not. Just
Yeah.
get off my property.
So,
Get
okay,
off
now
of
you
my
really
property.
sound like a fascist because
Get
you're.
off of my
I
property
thought no
right now.
human is illegal.
Off
I
of my
thought no
property.
human was illegal.
Get off of my property now.
Take
Get
care.
off.
I'll put you. The farts are gonna put you on a fart watch list.
The farts are going to put you on a fart watch list. Oh my God. Wow. That is just, I mean, folks, this is what we're up against here. These are NPCs. These are people that are completely, they're so down on Trump that that they have such TDS that they don't even they don't even understand that what they say they're about, they're completely hypocritical on. Completely hypocritical on, folks. I mean, it's crazy. But what a great job. This guy is Josh Sider official, and I think this is on Instagram, but his name is JOSH_SEITER_official. Okay. And let me see. He's also on X. And he's at Josh_Sider or Cedar right there. So you can give him a follow. And obviously, folks, you can find everything I'm posting pretty much that I share, that I also reshare on Snedheads on the right side, Dave's X feed, and you can see all the posts that I make right here. Okay. Just right on this right side. Hold on a second. Why is that doing that? Okay, there we go. Okay, something's going on with my computer right now. It's actually my scroller is acting really weird, but my Dave's X feed is on the right-hand side, and you can just click on that and you can see all these posts. Okay. Now, by the way, this is a long video, but on Snedheads, you will find a video shared by Kathy Drexler. Kathy, this was really compelling, this video here. I reposted it, so you can find it on the timeline if you're following me. But remember, when you get on Snedheads, go down to add friends, and then you're going to see everybody, and everyone's a friend on here. Just start adding friends, and the more friends you add, the more your timeline will fill up, because your timeline's only going to fill up with friends. So this is the place where you don't have to pick and choose. You can friend everybody, and they're all part of this community. And yes, and so it's free to join, and you can watch this video that Kathy shared and I reposted. But it's about AI and how AI was watching this woman. The AI could actually read what this woman was writing, and could even read her mind, and also knew that she went into another room and showed a video to her son. It's really disturbing. It's really creepy. But that is the future of social media, with all this AI tied into it. So please just, join us over on Snedheads, and you'll understand why privacy is freedom. And we need our freedom, and we need our privacy. And when you are on Snedheads, you have that privacy. This is soon to be, by the way, excuse me, therubicon.com. The Rubicon, RUBIQON, the Rubicon. So the Rubicon River in northern Italy, the generals commanding the army could not cross the river, the Rubicon. And once Julius Caesar did, to take out the corruption in Rome, he took his army and he crossed the Rubicon, and he said the die is cast, meaning that there's no going back. And we are crossing the Rubicon as a civilization as we speak. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So let me take you to the Data Republican. Since Tom Holman has been in charge on the streets of Minnesota, major breaking: the largest ICE license plate tracker, Stop ICE, has been compromised. Okay. First, follow these people. I guess they were very influential Okay. If you visit the Stop Ice license plate tracker, you will notice all their plates have been overwritten with the following image. Hello, stopice.net. All your logins, locations, passwords, and phone numbers have been given to FBI and ICE. This is it in plain sight, stopice.net login. And it looks like they have a problem right now. I imagine they're probably overrun with everybody going on to look at this. So let me show you the screenshot. And Friday, August 15th, Thousand Oaks, California, more blue Nissan Murano, all-wheel drive, metallic gray wheels, license plate confirmed. Hello, Stop Ice. So all these were pictures of those automobiles with the license plate number that people could track them. Okay, so look at all this. Okay, and that is, thank you to Data Republican for that. We've shared quite a bit of her work on this show. The owner of the site is Sherman Austin of Long Beach, California. This is Sherman Austin. Okay. Founder, developer, stopice.net, Stop Ice Raids Alert Network, nationwide mobile text alert system and web app. Send and receive alerts about ICE activity in your area. Crowdsourced, works with every phone, no app required. Okay. And now all these people are being exposed. And yes, it's real. Can't violate X's terms of service, but this is very real. Right? Straight up gangsta. Okay. Very, very cool. Very cool, folks, that these people are finally getting a comeuppance. Now, here we go. Let me take you to Hakeem Jeffries. Okay. Maybe after these two shootings, maybe the rhetoric will, be addressed and slowed a bit.
Shame on every Republican in the Senate who put this wildly unqualified person into a position of significance, the Department of Homeland Security, so she could unleash brutalization on everyday Americans, American citizens, and law-abiding immigrant families. It's disgraceful. She's got to go. We are dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently.
Dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently.
She needs to be put on ice permanently. It's disgraceful. She's got to go. We are dead serious. She needs to be put on ice permanently. She's got to go. Shame on every.
Put on ice. Put on ice. Who do you put on ice? You put a dead body on ice, folks. I mean, this is the minority leader of the House, folks. Put on ice? You've got to be kidding me. I mean, this is absolute lunacy that we're allowing these leaders to spew this hatred and this nasty stuff. Okay. Yeah, it's unbelievable, folks. It's just yeah, I just can't get over. Okay, let me take you to this. Nick Sorter posted this today. Breaking, ICE attempted to apprehend a convicted sexual predator in Minneapolis, but he fled into the Ecuadorian consulate, who then blocked ICE from entering. Ecuador should be kicked out of the U.S. if they're going to harbor
convictions. He
predators.
escaped authorities here 2 days ago, ran into the embassy for Ecuador, and, quote, the consulate employees protected this public safety threat, and he is still at large. So DHS seeking that suspected criminal illegal alien. Back to you, Sandra.
Got it. Matt Finn out of Minneapolis for us. Matt, thank you. John?
All right, let's bring in Chad Wolf with the American First Policy Institute, who's also the former acting DHS secretary.
Convictions. He escaped authorities here.
So this is now we have other embassies that are, protecting these people, right? Listen to this guy. This is about Virginia. Abigail Spanberger and Virginia Democrats won because they told voters that they would reduce the cost of living. Check this out.
We had a big election last year in Virginia. Abigail Spanberger and Virginia Democrats won big because they told voters that they would reduce the cost of living and improve affordability in the Commonwealth. But this legislative session, a lot of Virginia Democratic lawmakers have proposed over 50 new tax increases and proposals. I'll read some of them to you. They include additional local sales tax in all Virginia counties and cities, new personal property tax on electric leaf blowers and electric landscaping equipment, large employer tax, gun and ammunition tax, new income tax brackets, a delivery tax. This would hit you if you ordered things on Amazon, Uber Eats, UPS, FedEx, etc. Investment income tax, event tax, concert tax, storage facility tax, gym membership tax, dog walking tax, dog grooming tax, counseling tax, got to catch my breath, digital personal property tax, new car taxes and highway use fees, increase in the hotel tax here in Arlington, statewide speed cameras. Now, those aren't taxes, but drivers would pay more fines if that went through. A dry cleaning tax, concert tax, home repair tax, and a vehicle repair tax. Now, I did reach out to Spanberger's office and Don Scott's office. He's the speaker here in Virginia, as well as the leader in the Senate, asking them, how would all of this make life more affordable to you? We'll put their responses on our webpage, WJLA.com.
I mean, this is when we see all the fraud that's going to come.
We had a big election.
Right? When we see all this fraud, the Democrats aren't going to be able to stay. Yeah. They're not. So here's I want to go back to the Georgia election. Speaking of Democrats, this is how the Democrats stay in office, because nobody in their right mind would vote Democrat if they can't pay bills.
Apparently, this is where 70 people are still registered to vote. If we were to trust the voter rolls, that means that 96 people are supposed to be sleeping in there, using the bathroom, showering, cooking.
As our main residents, first of all, right across, if we can pan the camera over, that is a Capitol right there. This is how close this place is. Right behind me in this beautiful building, it's actually the Peachtree Pine homeless shelter that was closed almost 10 years ago in 2017. But there's still some weird stuff happening here.
The weird thing that's happening here is that, again, according to Georgia registration rolls, people are still registered to vote from this exact same location. Over 70 people are actively still registered to vote, according to the most recent Georgia registration rolls that we received, which was just updated less than 2 weeks ago. The fact that this place was shut down more than 10 years ago and they still haven't cleaned the people up off the rolls is crazy to me.
What are they doing? Like, I mean, literally, what are they doing? This place, no one is living in it. Everything's boarded up. It says private property. There's gates. There's a fence over the gates. The window's broken. We took a peep inside from this vantage point, and there was no one in there. I mean, I would love to even maybe we can walk around and see where would someone actually even drop off ballots here.
That's a good question. Why don't we actually go do that? Yeah. Let's walk around and see what's going on. So this is 477 Peachtree Street Northeast. And according to the voter rolls, there are 70 people actively registered to vote here. That means that at some point during any election season, somebody from USPS is supposed to come by and drop off some kind of voter information. So we're going to go find out where they do this. So we're going to try the first entrance, but it says
Danger. Do not enter. Definitely can't get into
But-
there. I don't think you would want to anyway.
Now, Fabian, how funny is this right here? Amber Higgins Connor, Amber for Atlanta City Council citywide. The first thing that I would be focusing on is why in the heck is there still a problem?
Number one, she doesn't even know what this place is. Doesn't care.
No.
Because it's not, it doesn't get her votes. And second is she does know it's here and they're doing it to get her votes.
Well, we have another entrance, so I don't think we're gonna get in here.
No,
it's closed. Now, Fabian, the thing is that I don't doubt that once upon a time, this was actually a legit shelter where homeless people were being registered to vote from for whatever reason, for health benefits, we don't care. But the problem is that obviously this place has closed. It's been closed since 2017. That means that no longer people are laying their head inside of there and claiming this place as the place of residence. That means that they should be automatically purged from the voter rolls, but they're not.
You know what's interesting is if you have 100 sites like this, or, you know, who knows how many, but let's just say 100, and they each have around 100 people voting there that don't live there, that there's no building. You do that all over the place, and you can disperse the burden of proof and say, well, we don't have enough people to go to all 1,000 locations.
Exactly.
Compared to if it was in one or two. They can claim, oh, we don't have the manpower, the resources, we need more money to go and send people all over these places, but it's really this easy.
Yeah.
Here's an address, it's not open, you take the voters off. That's it.
So this is, you know, this is one place, right? And this is, by the way, this is Fabian on X. You can see right there. And maybe give him a follow because he's doing some good work out there in the world in exposing these things. Folks, get your name on the second wheel spin of the year. This is what we have so far, and it looks like we're going to do a drawing on Saturday night. I won't be on tomorrow night, but I will be on Saturday night. I think that's going to be a bang-up show on Saturday. Christopher Hunt, thank you. Alan Pitak, thank you. Kanin, Dwayne Bro, Greta Petty, Heather Willard, CR Partners, Robin Giroux, Derek Martin, Kathleen Bossy, Kathy Hudson, Barbara Cullup, and Helen Overton. I just want to thank you all for your support, especially you, Helen, and with your just tremendous support of this Truthcast, which, and you all keep this going. This is what the wheel looks like now. Hopefully we'll get that filled up for Saturday, and have a wheel spin on Saturday. So there you see the names going round and round, and I'm telling you, it's let's fill it up, please, folks. Let's fill it up and really make it awesome, and get me over the hump here. And yeah, we're gonna have a good night Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to just might have a few guests on, and I really just want to kind of have a conversation about all the things that are happening and getting some feedback on that, and really just discussing so much that's going on. The President Trump today, huge signing of a bill to do true addiction help, people with addictions. And he made that announcement in the Oval Office today. And it's, it's a serious problem in this country, and he's putting Bobby on it, and the HHS to really make a difference here with people with addiction, because there's so much that is not being revealed that could help people. And I hope they really tap in. They're already talking about alternatives and therapeutics. And I'm telling you, Ibogaine and ayahuasca are a huge success with breaking addiction. And when you think about it, you really do have to get serious about this. So at any rate, thank you all for being here tonight. I am very excited about what's happening. President Trump is just dropping bomb after bomb after bomb. And I am going to show you his last post of the evening. For all our Canadian friends, based on the fact that Canada has wrongfully, illegally, and steadfastly refused to certify the Gulfstream 500, 600, 700, and 800 jets, one of the greatest, most technologically advanced airplanes ever made, we are hereby decertifying their Canadian Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified, as it should have been many years ago. Further, Canada is effectively prohibiting the sale of Gulfstream products in Canada through this very same certification process. If for any reason the situation is not immediately corrected, I am going to charge Canada a 50% tariff on any and all aircraft sold into the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I mean, we're talking about $100 million planes, folks, that are now going to be $150 million. I mean, $200 million planes that are going to be now $300 million. They cannot compete at all. This will happen very quickly. And President Trump is basically slapping down and calling bullshit on what Canada's doing. All right, my friends, much love. Thank you, all of you who got on the wheel tonight. Let's get on the wheel for Saturday night. I look forward to being with you then. Please enjoy the beginning of your weekend, and I look forward to hanging with you Saturday night. Much love. Good night.